hello. Welcome. Come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here, okay? Kick off your shoes, relax your feet. You are now in the den. So, baby, this is my review recap for House of the Dragon, okay? AKA them thrones, AKA them dragons. This is season 1, episode 4, King of the Narrow Sea. Child, this episode was messy, okay? Things was getting a little messy out here, all right? We had, first Rhaenyra is at Dragonstone. She trying to find out who the heck she gonna have to take, to be her damn mate. And we know she don't want to do that. They bringing in little kids to old men, all right? Then we got Day over here, okay? Daemon making his grand entrance, all right? But before we got there, we had this little kid, Blackwood, that said, play with somebody else, not me, okay? They was trying to test him, and he was like, chopping necks, all right? And then we get Rhanerya and Zay out here in these streets, baby, okay? And when Rhanerya came back, she was riding some other things besides dragons, y'all. I said, what is going on? And Allison, okay, listen, aka, Alley Cat, was giving me a little bit of jealousy, all right? And Otto, okay, they told him, bye. So let's go ahead and get into this episode, y'all. Like I said, we start out with Rhaenyra on this Dragonstone, and she got lines of people standing here that is wanting to become, her husband and have her be their wife. And we got this old man standing up here, he coughing and shit. He got to take a break and stop and drink some wine. He trying to, give her his words. And let's just say that Princess Rhaenyra is also the princess of shade, baby, okay? She be throwing that shade left and right. So in the middle of him talking, she says to him, was my damn great-grandmother, okay, as lovely as me? And he was like, miss, that was a half a century ago. She's like, yeah, exactly, that's my point. And her advisor's like, yo, you don't have to come at him like that. That's not nice. And she was like, come on, this man is old as my father. Like, get him out of here, all right? Next. Who else y'all got up in here for me? So now comes this little boy, and of course she's like, oh my God, y'all gotta be kidding me. I'm getting a kid now. And I'm like, Rhaenyra, come on now. You know damn well they're gonna be sending in kids too. Let's not act like this is something new, child, because, what is the age for y'all? About 12, 14, y'all be out here getting married? So yeah, they got a kid there too, right? And this apparently is a Blackwood. And so her assistant is now telling her, like, the Blackwoods come with a formidable army, okay? They got a lot of backing or whatever. They ruled as kings, and the blood of them, that flows through them is of the first men. So let's not just be dissing them, okay? Listen to him. And Blackwood starts out giving her speech, his speech to her, and he does repeat basically what the advisor just finished telling her. And he's also talking about how Lucas Blackwood is his grandsire, and his grandsire, they aided with the dragons, and he can basically protect her, if she should choose to, have him be her man, then he would make sure her days is easy and she is protected at night. And again, the crowds is trying to make fun on the sidelines and have jokes, and he over it now. Like, stop playing with me, okay? So she says, either get to the next person so they can have supper or whatever. But then, little Blackwood done pulled out his sword. And when he does that, she's like, come on, let's go. Let's get out of here, okay? I ain't got time for this. We leaving. We going to King's Landing now. And they're telling her, you're not supposed to be doing that for another 3 days. You're supposed to be on this tour. And you're supposed to be looking for your suitor. She said, listen, if y'all, I don't know what y'all gonna do, okay? But I know what I'm going to do. I'm up out of here, and I'm going back to King's Landing. And in the middle of them, talking and her walking away, we hear gas. When they turn around, little Blackwood done slit that throat, baby. Blood was spraying everywhere. And, Christian telling her, don't look. I said, oh, shoot, he wasn't playing, okay? When he said he would protect you, he was serious out here, okay? He not a game to be played with. So, of course, as they are riding on these ships to go back to King's Landing, Daemon got to make his damn entrance. He flying past them on the dragon, done swiped their asses and made everybody on the ship go rolling over or whatever, right? And right before that had happened, Princess Rhaenyra, okay, Ray, that's what I'm going to call her, y'all. I got to start giving these people some nicknames because I know I'll be butchering up their names. Believe me, I know, okay? So, she basically says, like, how do you think my father is going to take this? Because she was not supposed to be coming back home yet. And so, obviously she's thinking that once she get there, she gonna have that heat on her behind from her dad, because he gonna be like, you still playing games. But Daemon kind of takes the attention off of her, because once he comes, all you hear is the whispers, Daemon is coming, Daemon is coming, Daemon is coming. So of course he walking through and trying to come through like he a boss, like he a king, okay? He got this damn crab crown on his head. And when he walks up, the guy basically, the guard puts the damn sword up to him as if to stop him, like he thought he was coming there to do something to the king. And Daemon just stops and throws the sword that he has in his hand and says, add that to your chair, okay? And King V asked him, like, so what, you supposed to be a king now because you walking in here with this crown on your head, all right? And he says, after everything that went down, and once they smashed, I'm saying, Mr. Crabfeeder, they had named him the king of the narrow sea. But he tells him he can have, the crown. He basically kneels down and lets him know, I know that there's only one king, your grace. And you could tell that, King V was a little caught off guard by this, right? And he's looking over at Otto, and I'm like, well, why are you looking at Otto? What the hell is that about? You don't need to look at Otto for nothing, but we know that Otto don't like Daemon, right? And he walking over whatever on the side, looking at Daemon too, as Daemon is saying all of this, and they actually seemed like they was a little shocked, that he was coming back being so humble, okay, after he was basically the one that was out there doing his thing with Crabfeeder, and we know that he likes to play these games with his brother, so it's no shock. They do the nice nasty with each other, right? And so he tells him that his crown and the stepstones is his, that's what Daemon says to, King. And so he asking him, well, where Corley's at? He said, well, he's basically done, went back home to Driftmark, and he tells him that, now they're holding down, stepstones, right, making sure that no other men think that they could come through there. And so the king walks down to him, and he tells him to get up, and they basically end up embracing, and everybody is clapping, that sees them have this embrace. And so now they get in this backyard, okay, and they having a little shing-ding back there. And the king, as usual at this time, is ready to partay, and of course he got his drinks, and he's telling stories of how Daemon was always the mother's favorite and all of that. And so here come Miss Allison. Oh, well, maybe Daemon wants to see the chapter that we put up and everything, that we've changed since he's been gone. And he was like, do you want to see that? And basically laughing right in her face. And he's like, nah, he don't want to see that, okay? He have no interest. And then, Rhanerya says, well, maybe I might want to see it, okay? I think I will go and look by myself. And she walks over, but then she just sits down on the side. And Allison take her behind over there to her. So she was basically like, oh, the tour, stopped short, huh? And she sits down there and they talk for a minute. And, she's basically telling her, oh, I don't think it's so bad. Some people would love to have 2 suitors that's coming after them, okay? Let alone 2 score of them. And Allison is like, girl, Rhanerya's like, girl, I don't give a damn about that, okay? I don't want that. She was like, what's supposed to be so good about that? That's not what I'm looking for, okay? That's never been anything that I've been interested in. I don't want boys and men fawning over me, right? All they want is my Valyrian blood so that they can have it for their offspring. And so, Allison tells her she thinks it's kind of romantic. And here go Rhanerya again, baby, with her dad on shade. She said how romantic it must be to get imprisoned in a castle, okay, and just have to basically squeeze out airs. And Allison was all... And so, Rhanerya says sorry. And I said, girl, what you saying sorry for, okay? It ain't your fault. So, Allison does start to tell her, like, well, she does not have that many friends, right? She thought she would have a few, but everybody looks at her now just as the queen, And of course, Rhanerya's also trying to get the scoop and find out, you know, how mad her father is. And she's saying, well, he is frustrated, girl, because he set up all these different tours and, you know, suitors for you, and now you came back. But she says, I am happy to have you back home, right? And so it seemed like they was having a little bonding moment, like maybe Rhaenyra is starting to, you know, calm down with her a little bit and maybe have a little bit of forgiveness for her. I don't know, child. Okay. And so, you know, they kind of just sit there with each other, whatever, for a minute. So then we have, you know, Rhaenyra go talk to Daemon. And I like the conversation that she was having with Daemon. I feel like Daemon pretty much keeps it real with her, right? And he was dropping a little bit of knowledge, you know. She kept asking him, like, well, what bring you home and what do you want? And he was saying he only want the comforts of home. And then, of course, you know, she always got to bring up, like, my father out here still trying to sell me off, right? He wants to sell me off to the biggest house. And Daemon told her, it's worse things you could be sold off for. I said, he got a point there, right? And so he basically was telling her that marriage is just a political arrangement. And, you know, you still could do what you want to do because you make the political arrangement. That doesn't mean that other things can't still happen. And she said maybe it's like that for men, but it's not like that for women. For women, they basically, you know, it's a death sentence. And so he says if that was true, then that old bitch I married would be gone, okay? So she said, well, you also have never gave her a baby. And he said, child, no baby want to be up in that evil thing. I said, well, damn, Damon. But, you know, she basically says, look what happened to my mother. And he said, listen, that was a tragedy, okay? And life, unfortunately, can be tragic. But he says, you cannot live your life in fear. And she told him she's not living his life in fear, or she's not worried about living in fear, right? But she just wants solitude. So they both was basically kind of dropping gems to each other. And I do like that Daemon kind of just is real with her and down to earth and seems like he's, you know, real comfortable and mellow when he's with her, right? Whereas when it comes to other people, you don't be knowing what the heck you gonna get. So then we get this council, and of course they still gotta have some drama. They gotta have something else to damn complain about. You ain't never gonna satisfy them no matter what. So they're basically saying how, you know, they traded the crab feeder for the sea snake. They like, you know, now Corley's is being problems, and they basically say that he is still rebuking them for the king passing over his daughter. He was like, he can't possibly be still holding on to that. And they say, you know, the sea snake, your grace, is a very proud man. He's over proud, right? And they was like, there's no way in the world. And so here go Otto. Of course, he always got to be the one that got the gossip. He's saying Lord Corlys is in negotiations with the Sea Lord of Bravos for his daughter to marry the Lord of Bravo's son. So he was like, you know, if those two family align and they become alliances, you know what I'm saying, with the free cities, then you could forget about it. Like if Valerian comes alliance with the free cities, that's going to be a strong, you know what I'm saying, uniting right there. So they said the only way that they could even try to salvage this is for them to seek their own marriage pact. Okay, so we see where this is going and how that's going to lead into Rhaenyra having to marry Laenor, their son, right? Makes more sense, and it's coming together that Lord, okay, Lord Strong, when he told him that, was good advice. So, you know, now when she basically get back to her room or whatever, she finds some clothes in there, and so she looking like, you know, what's this, right? Meanwhile, poor Allison, I actually felt bad for her for 2 seconds, child, because Allison was going through it, honey. She over here, you know, with the baby crying. When I see the people walking in the room, I'm thinking they coming to help her. They was walking right past her, honey. I don't know where the hell they was going. And she was there looking just as miserable, just a shaking that daggone baby back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I said, okay. You know, that baby was crying and it wouldn't stop. So, meantime, you know, like I said, Miss Princess, okay, Ray, she done got these daggone clothes. and she looking to see what it is, and then there's a little map there, and comes to find out it's a little doorway from her room for her to go ahead and sneak out. And she done put on these clothes, and she's looking and, following the map and going everywhere that it takes her. And of course, we got Daemon waiting on the other end, and he's just taking her out in these streets, honey, okay? He's giving her a little grand tour, showing her how she can sneak out without it being a problem. And while she's busy walking through, we seeing that, the king is in the bath, and she go in there, whatever, and she's like, let me do it, because you got about 10 people standing around the damn bath, and you got somebody else that's wiping him off. Okay, that king look horrible, honey. He hanging on by a damn thread, all right? I will say he have a lot of will, because that gotta be what's keeping him alive, honey, because he look like he got one foot in the damn grave. But nonetheless, she just ended up telling all of them to go ahead and get out the bathroom. And I said, yeah, that would irk my nerves, honey. I wouldn't want no damn 10 people standing around me every time I'm taking my damn bath. And, he tells her that her touch is better than, theirs anyway. And she's like, thank you, my king. So, nonetheless, Rhaenyra and, Daemon is out here in these streets, right? And they basically, he just showing her the sights. She's seeing that they doing these magic tricks out there, that is a whole bunch of different people hanging out there. You got some people that's selling food, drinks, you name it. It's partying going on and all of that kind of stuff, right? And then at one point, she basically had stole this food off the tray and went running, and then she runs into this guard that's like, what are you running from? But then he's like, princess, because she says his name, and he's like, you better be happy it's me, okay? If it was somebody else, you would be in some trouble. And then he just goes, take care, boy, because the way she was dressed, everybody was thinking she was a boy. And Daemon was like, yeah, you had real fun with that, right? You enjoyed that, didn't you? They also went by this play where they were basically making fun of them, and they was making fun of her and saying how a woman couldn't be, the heir, and how, now Varys has to choose between his brother, her, and her brother, which one is it that's going to get on the throne? And of course she was getting mad, but he was like, listen, this is just the reality. This is how all of them, feel out here, whatever the case may be, right? You should not be surprised by this. And in the meantime, we are also seeing them knocking at the door and telling Miss Alicent that the damn king want her, okay? He is calling for her to come to his room, and she's like, this is a late hour, and they're like, yes, your grace, it is, but he wants you, all right? So I said, damn, Alicent, girl, I was feeling just a little incy busy, just a little bit bad for Alicent, okay? So in the meantime, we get, freaking Daemon taking damn, Rhaenyra up into this damn club, honey, where they was just getting it in all over the damn place. And she was like, what is this now? When they get inside of that place, he have them take off all their garments and stuff that they had that was hiding themselves. And I said, well, why would you do that? Now anybody could see her and be like, the queen, the princess was up in here, right? So, in the meantime, while they showing them getting it in, we seeing the king going in on Alicent. And I said, nobody wanted to see this. Nobody asked for this, okay? That list was like, I'm sorry, but his old behind it, did you see his back and how the mark done got way bigger from where he got cut and shit? I said, no. And I said, damn, you seeing all of them getting it in, and you seeing, her and Daemon looking at each other, and she looking all around like, what is this place or whatever, right? And he was like, it's just a place that people come when they want to do whatever the heck they want to do, okay? And everybody doing what they want to do all over the place, okay? And they busy moaning and groaning and whatever. And we flashing back and forth in between that, and then her and Daemon kind of just, holding each other and getting more close, or whatever the case may be, as they looking at those surroundings. And then we're getting flashes back to damn King and Alicent with him, her getting this dry ass sex. I said, no wonder Alicent be walking around here looking all mad and jealous all the time, okay? And so then, we have Rhaenyra and Daemon kiss, and I think everybody saw it coming. I seen it coming since episode 1. You could see the attraction that's there between them, And so, they kissed or whatever, but it did not go any further than that. All right, Daemon ends up leaving, and then Rhaenyra, she had to go running home, and when she get home, she grab up Mr. Christian Cole, honey, and she give him a little rodeo, okay, riding him like he her daggone dragon. All right, and so now we have this little spy that Otto have out here in these streets come and tell him, what he's seen as far as him seeing, Rhaenyra and Daemon together, right? But insinuating in a way as if he's seen them having sex when we know that they didn't, and at the same time we have, Daemon all drunk and having a hangover, and his girl was trying to give him a little remedy to take the hangover away, but he basically got cute with her, and so she was like, yeah, whatever, make sure you pay, for the room on your damn way out. I ain't got time for you and your damn shenanigans. And so we get Otto looking like if it's so hard for him, and he contemplating whether to go and tell, King versus what he know, okay, King V, what he know, and child, he go and he knock at the door, and King V say, come in, what is it? So at first he's like, this is about your daughter, and he's like, what happened? Is she okay? Did something happen? And he was like, well, she was out in the streets with Daemon last night. And he's like, okay, and what has she done? Again, what happened? Okay, spill the tea. What is you talking about? He said, she was spied on last evening. She was beyond the walls keep, okay, out here in these streets. And he's like, she ended up in the pleasure house. So he's like, well, what of it? Oh, well, she was carrying on with her uncle. He's like, carrying on doing what? Okay, they were engaging in behaviors unbecoming of a maiden. And he's like, who said that? Okay, who said that? Who gave you this damn information? Where did you hear this from? What behaviors? Okay, he want all the specifics. If you gonna tell it all. And so Otto was just still standing there, and he was like, must I say it, your grace? And he was like, if you accusing my daughter of something, you damn well better speak it plainly, okay? The hell you gonna come here and tell me half the damn story for? So he was like, well, Daemon and Rhaenyra was seen together, whatever the case may be, and the bowels of pleasure been, okay? And so King V like, I know you lying. And in the meantime, Miss Allison is over here creeping, looking, hiding, overhearing what they saying. And so the king started laughing like, I know you damn playing with me. This is a lie. I don't believe that for a minute. You've been lied to. But I don't want to tell him I wish that was true, but this person has brought me a lot of information before, and they never, been lying. So he said, well, who's responsible for this? Bring them to me as once. I will take their eyes, okay? And he says, this is a trusted source that's bringing him this information, and they've never led him astray before. And so he was like, several servants seen her coming in too or whatever, right? And so he's like, listen, you can't be bringing me no half-ass information and then telling me that I can't speak to the damn person, all right? He was like, are you such a sick abomination that you would have my daughter stalked and spied on? You are waiting to ruin her damn reputation? You trying to destroy your reputation? He was like, I have no such intent, your grace. And King V said, you really think you're a cunning man, huh? You think you smarter than everybody. You think I haven't been watching you, and your designs are obvious. I know what you out here trying to do. You wish the thrones to be in your blood so badly that you would basically are willing to destroy mine. I said, okay, King, all right now, wait a minute. King ain't as dumb as we thought, okay? He been paying attention. I'll give you credit where credit is due. So he said, just get the hell up out of here. Get the hell out. So he leaves, and then here come Allison walking out and looking or whatever. So the next thing Rhaenyra get a knock at her door, and Christian is telling her, the queen want to see you. And so she go ahead and walk out here, and Allison talking about is it true? What did you do? And she was like, I drunk wine. She was like, you left the castle after dark. You fucked Daemon in the pleasure house. She's like, excuse me? That's a really vile, accusation. How dare you, And Allison tried to throw back some shade too, honey, because she told her, I know how y'all Targaryens get down, so I mean, y'all are into queer customs. I said, ooh, okay, Allison, you trying to throw some shit right now. So she said, listen, I would never. She was like, you know me better than that. Like, Rhaenyra was telling her, I don't get down like that. She was like, no, this is nothing but gossip, okay? And then she gonna talk about something, my father's not a gossip. She said, well, your father did not witness such a thing, okay? Because it did not happen. All right, point blank, period. And she was like, he told you that? And so now Allison was, she telling her, like, your father made these claims. So Allison want to talk about some, well, no, not me directly or whatever the case may be, right? He was telling your father and I was in the room because she said, Rhaenyra was like, listen, this could really bring me some heat. She was like, to question my virtue is an act of treason. I'm the damn princess or whatever, right? And so, Allison basically, like I said, was telling her that she overheard it. So she was like, oh, so you're coming to accuse me something that you overheard or whatever, and not even ask me or hear my side or whatever the case may be, and not even something that you specifically saw or your father specifically saw. You overheard it? And then here goes damn Allison talking about, I only want to help you, Rhaenyra. I said, how the hell is that help, Allison? Okay? Because, see, I was feeling sorry for you a little something about a couple seconds ago. But now you starting to tick me off because I see a little bit of your father coming out of you. Because what is this? Are you jealous? Are you mad? Why you mad? I don't know. I was just getting a different type of energy when these questions was going on and it wasn't help. But nonetheless, I digress. We going to move right along. And so she basically was like, I did not do anything, okay? I swear to you. I swear on my mother, okay? We went to the damn tavern. We did drink or whatever, You know how Daemon is. He started drinking and drinking and drinking. We actually went to several taverns. It was getting late. I had told him that I wanted to leave, but he wasn't ready to leave yet. And she was like, basically I had to just end up, he was my escort or whatever the case may be. So I had to, wait on him or whatever. And Allison talking about some in a brothel. And she was like, look, he took me to a show. Like, we went a couple of different places or whatever. But I was only a spectator. I didn't do anything. So I'm like, well, technically she didn't do nothing. But, you all putting it on a little thick. Okay, Miss Rhaenyra girl, swearing on your mother, okay? And then she says that he abandoned her for some whore. And so, meanwhile, like I said, I couldn't tell what Allison was feeling and what she wasn't feeling because her face was looking a little bit of envy and jealousy to me, honey. It was just giving a really sad and pitiful type of look, and I was not sure why you had this look and why you was going as hard as you was going, Allison girl, okay? And so, anyway, after all of that, she was basically like, everything would have been ruined or whatever, right? And she would never do nothing like that. She would never jeopardize anything like that. And she actually regret now that she even went out. So now in the meantime, as Daemon is walking, they come and grab him up and yoke him up and bring him in there to the damn king, okay? And they throw him on the ground and the king come in flipping, of course, saying, you had to come back here with your bull, right? It just couldn't be simple. It had to be something with you. Why would you come and do something like that and take Rhaenyra out of here and all of that? And so he's like, you're not even denying it. And Daemon is like, I don't even know what the hell you talking about, okay? And what the hell I'm supposed to be denying in the first daggone place. And would it even really matter at this point? Because even if I tell you I didn't do something, you still gonna damn think I did it anyway. And so he was like, you defiled her or whatever. And he's basically kicking Daemon and all of this. And so Daemon is like, basically didn't deny it at this point because I guess he just felt like, what does it even matter, brother? He was like, shoot, me and you used to be out there when we was her age or whatever. We would go on the streets of Silk and we would be all up and down when we were young men. And he was like, yeah, we were men. She's a girl. She's your niece. And he was like, well, she's a grown woman. Better for her to have her first experience, with me than some whore. I said, now, Daemon, why would you say that now? So, of course, Rhaenyra's one thing I noticed about him, Varys, y'all know who the hell I'm talking about, the king. One thing I noticed about him, he will argue with Daemon, and he'll kick him out and all of that, but he don't usually really be ready to jump on him and get in his behind unless it's something to do with his kid, right? When it was about the baby, he was ready to go there and get into it with him, and now that it is about Rhaenyra, he is pissed the hell off, and he jumped right on top of him and had a damn, sword, knife, whatever to his neck, and was like, what lord is gonna wed her in her condition now? He was like, if I was damn, Verses or whatever, I would have had to, basically alienate her and throw her out. And, I've spent a lifetime defending you. How the hell could you do this? He was like, your heart is so black. I should disinherit her or whatever, like I've already done with you and be done with it or whatever, right? And so he said, well, wed her to me. Daemon is like, wed her to me. I can offer to be with her. I've offered up my crown, and you said I could have anything I want. Give her to me. Let her be my wife, And I want Rhaenyra or whatever, right? And he was like, we could wed at our house as a tradition. And he said, you already wed. And he was like, yeah, but that didn't stop Aegon the Conqueror from taking a second wife. He said, well, you damn sure ain't no damn conqueror, okay? And so he basically was like, you're like a plague sent here to destroy me, okay? And so, Daemon's still talking about giving Rhaenyra to me to take, as a wife or whatever, right? And he basically was like, we'll return the House of Dragon to, its proper glory. And so King Verses was like, there it is. That's what it is. You don't even give a damn about my damn daughter or want her. It's always been about my damn throne. That's what you really want, okay? And he was like, get the hell up out of here, okay? He basically tells him to go back to Vel, go back to his wife, or don't. He really don't give a damn as long as he don't have to see him anymore, whatever the case may be, right? Because he was telling him at first, strive to retain some type of damn honor, right? And so you then had, Miss Allison trying to tell the king, like, I really don't think that's true. When I went to her, she denied everything. He was like, well, why would Daemon lie to me? She was like, to get under your skin. And when he thought about it, he knew she was telling the truth as far as that goes. She was basically letting him know, like, he knows what damn push buttons to push with you already. And so then we see that he called for the princess, and she comes there to him, in that room where he have the whole little, statues and the building and everything, the model building there, and she's looking around the room and walking, and she was about to basically, pick up the knife, and all of a sudden you hearing his voice from behind her. I said, well, where the hell did he come from? How the hell she didn't see him right there in the damn room, okay? And he started talking or whatever the case may be as she was about to come, and was basically, letting her know or reminding her, okay, as she was about to go ahead and pick up the knife, that dagger, once belonged to Aegon the Conqueror, right? And then before him it was Aenir's, and before that they not really sure. And, he was, it said it was difficult to know. And so he basically picked it up and was looking at it or whatever. And before Aegon's death, he said the last Valyrian, basically hid his song inside the still. And so she begins to read it, which of course is the story that we have heard, right? From my blood, comes the prince that was promised, right? And so basically, he starts to tell, and his song will be the song of ice and fire, right? And so he tells her, like, this is bigger than you. This is bigger than me. This responsibility that I've handed to you is the burden of this knowledge or whatever, right? It's bigger than the king. It's larger than the throne. All of that. So, you got to start being smarter, okay? And your damn desires got to be held to the damn side. Everything got to be held to the side when it comes to this, right? And he says, Jaehaerys would have disinherited you. And she says, for what? Allah, he was like, she said, you never even asked me what happened. He said, the truth does not matter. It only matters of the perception. You have exposed yourself. That's what matters. And now we both have to suffer the consequences. And she was like, well, if I was born a man, it wouldn't matter who I would bed, and I could have a dozen bastards and all of this stuff. He said, then you're right. You could, but you was born a woman. And that's what it is. I said, woo. Okay. So she says, well, you'll strip me of my titles and give it to Aegon instead? He said, I would, but it's mine to hold the realm together. Okay. So he says it's up to him and how he want to continue further. And he said the courtship will end and you will wed Sir Rhaenyra. And this is not a damn question. This is a direct damn order and you will not protest. And she said, the son of the sea snake? She was like, wow, so I can remedy your political headache? He said, you are my political headache, okay? Don't get it twisted. So basically, she was like, all right, that's fine. I'll wed him, but you go ahead and take care of Otto Hightower because obviously he has not, basically been here and trying to do stuff that is for you. He's doing stuff so that he can accomplish what he needs to accomplish or whatever. Your most trusted advisor basically has self-interest. And he was like, well, they all have that a little bit, but he served 2 kings before me and he's always been great and loved it and this and that. And, she says, he was telling her it's unavoidable. And she said, no, I disagree. I will wed Sir Rhaenyra, but you do your job as the king, okay? So they both kind of called each other out. So then he calls Otto in the room. And he started out by saying 5 days. And Otto was like, He's like, yeah, 5 days later, my father laid in the bed then. So Otto's like, okay, your grace. Like, what the hell you mean? Excuse me. And he would start to tell him, about being the heir to the throne and the death of a burst of rebellion and all of this stuff, right? And, the gods have the dark wit or whatever, and it was a grim day. And so, Otto's like, I recall it all too well. And so he's like, yeah, it was a good day for you. That's what the king tell him. He says, Rhaenyra named you hand of Baelin's steed. And so, Jaehaerys, named you head of Baelin's steed. So he says, that's highly how I viewed it, your grace. I didn't look at it as a good day at all. And so he says it was a duty, And King V was like, yeah, I bet. He was like, you served my grandsire nobly in his final days, and I have appreciated everything that you have done for, my family and for the realm. And so I was like, okay. He said, you're the man that taught me to be king, and so he tells, Otto says it was your honor, your grace. And so King V was just like, I'm sure, right? And he went again, just 5 days. 5 days you went from being another man in Jaehaerys' court, okay, to being the second most powerful man in the realm. And he says, I wonder, how long did it take you to choose yourself over your king? And then Otto was like, your grace, me? I've never done that. I would never, ever recover from, Amina's death. He said, yeah, but Allison, okay, Allison, right? Damn, y'all. Alley Cat, okay? Y'all know who I'm talking about. So he says, she was a calculated distraction. You was good at that one, okay? You was real good at that one. That was smart. He says, you knew I was mourning and she would come. And he says, I only now realize how calculating it was, the absurdity of it all, okay? And he says, the queen loves you and I know you love the queen. He said, yeah, but your interests no longer align, with those of the realm. They align with you and you trying to basically, get your blood on the throne, and your judgment has been compromised, okay? And so he basically was like, Otto says a loyal, servant of the king must tell him the truth, even when it's going to be discomforting or even when it may hurt him or whatever. He still have to be honest or whatever, right? And so, meanwhile, mind you, while, Miss Doctor. Meanwhile, King V is saying this, he's slowly walking over inch by inch. Every time he says something, he walking over to him. And so by the time he get close to him, he just goes like this and lifts that pen up out of his damn, shirt, okay, that hand, and says, your debt can never be repaid. I appreciate it, okay? But that's all, folks, baby. Your ass is up out of here. You are no longer the hand because I can no longer trust your judgment. Okay? And that's that on that. road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, okay? And don't you come back no more. Let me say, what you say? Now let me start. So then, we end the episode with Princess getting a knock, knock, knock at the door. She say, come in. Then the guy bringing her over this damn tea, talking about, I hope you forgive me for coming at this late hour, but it takes time to brew this up. You have to get it just right, because if you don't get it just right, some things could happen, okay? You have to take great care with the preparations of this. And so she's like, because he said it could either, be ineffective, or it can really bear some unpleasant things. So she's like, brewed properly? I'm sorry, what is this? He was like, a tea, your princess. Okay, a tea from the king, to make sure that you ain't got, no other problems, and it will rid any unwanted circumstances, okay, and consequences that may go down. I said, oh, wait a minute. Y'all mean to tell me that in the medieval times, they had better damn care and choices and stuff than we do right now? And, But anyway, y'all, that was House of the Dragon. What y'all thought about this episode, y'all? What do y'all think about this, honey? What y'all think is going to be next up to happen, okay? Do y'all think Allison was really concerned, or do y'all see some jealousy like I am seeing, okay? Did y'all think that the king was peeping Otto in his games all this time, or were you, pleasantly surprised? And how you think this whole, marriage thing between the princess and Rhaenyra is going to work out, okay? Put it all in the comments. Let's discuss, okay? Make sure that y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. If you are so inclined, okay? Give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky, okay, y'all? Till next time, toodaloo.